Welcome back to That Makes Perfect Sense, where things either make sense or they don't. Does that make sense?
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is resigning, becoming the
Thank
latest symbol
God.
of failing progressive policies and hopefully the beginning of the end of woke politicians. Remember,
would
for
be
example,
nice.
this.
Maternal love is the love that's going to change the future of mankind.
Oh,
So
boy.
we'd like you to look into
We
that.
like to say people kind, not necessarily mankind.
Oh, Trudeau, Trudeau, Trudeau. Somebody get this man a half-eaten biscuit and kick him out of the country.
Because
yeah.
it's more inclusive.
There we go, exactly.
Yeah, there we go. Clap, 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 clap. And these people aren't even sheep. They're robots that have been programmed to be sheep.
They're not cheering anymore,
No,
thankfully.
they're not.
Trudeau stepping down is now setting the stage for a Conservative Party takeover, as President Trump keeps teasing the idea of our northern borders becoming the 51st state. I'm sure you heard that.
I mean, I think he's doing a little bit more than teasing about it. What do you guys think? Should Trump double down on his efforts to make Canada the 51st state? Or should he start forming a relationship with the future of Canada, Pierre Poilievre?
Joining us now to expand on this possibility, the author of the book, We Who Wrestle with God,
JP.
and founder of the Peterson Academy, Canadian psychologist Dr. Jordan Peterson. Now he's in America. Dr. Peterson, great to see
I love that slow walk over to JP. Too funny.
you. I thought as soon as we saw the Prime Minister come in front of his
Whoa,
house
that's
and
not
resign,
JP.
we
It's a
thought about
screen.
you. Is this a good thing for Canada?
You're damn right it is.
Well, I hope it could be a great thing. It's at least the end of a disaster.
And that's the truth. Trudeau has been an absolute disaster for Canada.
I mean, that's something. It's something to be said for that, right off the mark. Canada was at parity for per capita GDP with the U.S. 9 years ago when Trudeau took the helm, and now Canadians are at 60%,
Ouch.
and our real estate is twice as expensive as it is in the U.S.
Double ouch.
And so that's a catastrophe. He's been a catastrophe. And so at least the catastrophe will be gone. And then there's reason for hope with regard to a new administration, which should likely be headed by Pierre Poilievre, who's the leader of the Conservative Party.
Yes, Pierre Poilievre. Look, guys, if you're not familiar with him, you need to become familiar with him. He is amazing. And just like Trump, he just might save this world.
Party in Canada.
Who you've had a chance to speak to, just to look back at Justin Trudeau's career, and it's part of the reason you're in America now, and it's our gain and their loss. In 2015, he was unveiling Canada's first gender-balanced cabinet. Forget about
Oh,
qualifications.
boy. Do you guys see this guy? Look at this resume. Absolute disgrace. And look at that face. It doesn't even look like a real face. I mean, it kind of does, but at the same time, it kind of looks like an AI-generated version of a face. What do you guys think?
An ethics commission finds that Trudeau violated conflict of interest when he took a free vacation by mistake. 2019, images surfaced after he's condemning everyone else and being politically correct of his black face, his brown face, as well as his Indian headdress.
Hypocrite.
2022, I think the most egregious, he targeted protesters and took truckers' bank accounts and froze them.
Do you guys remember that? Do you remember when he froze the bank accounts of truckers? Truckers, guys.
That was a bridge too far. But he's done some damage to the country in the long term, not just economically. I think he's really hurt the morale of the country you used to call your own.
I would definitely have to agree.
There's no doubt about that. And I think you're right to point to his administration's freezing, not only of the truckers' bank accounts, but of people who dared to support the truckers on various social media platforms.
What? Did you guys know that? I had no idea. You're telling me he froze the bank accounts of people who showed support for the truckers on social media? So you could be sitting at home, on Twitter, on Facebook, you put up a comment showing some support, and they would freeze your bank accounts? That is insane.
Right. No, I don't think Canadians still understand how devastating that was to our international reputation. I've never heard.
I mean, I don't think the world blames Canada. We all know who's responsible. It was Justin Trudeau and his administration. Canada, your image is still intact.
Justin Trudeau utter a word that was true. He's false in every aspect of his.
Yes, he is. I mean, just look at that face, that lizard-like face, trying to force out fake tears out of his fake eyes as he tries to formulate a thought. A lie, no doubt.
performance and thought.
So your new conservative candidate, likely, I hope, will be your next prime minister, it seems, is Pierre Poilievre, and you interviewed him.
All right, I love that. He tried the name twice. He failed both times, and he thought, you know what? I'm just going to keep rolling with it.
And his statement he put out after Donald Trump is kind of trolling you guys, saying, I'm going to make you the 51st state if you'll
Just look at that guy, guys. This is a leader.
have us. Canada will never be the 51st state, he says. Our weak and pathetic Liberal government has failed to make these obvious points. When I am prime minister, we will rebuild our military, take back control of the border, secure both Canada and the U.S. In other words, we will put Canada first. I mean,
That's right, guys. Pierre Poilievre. Like I said before, if you're not familiar with him, you need to become familiar with him. You know what? I'm going to make a video dedicated to him.
that sounds so much like Donald Trump. I wouldn't be surprised if Donald Trump wrote it. Coincidence?
I don't think it's a coincidence at all, but I don't think it's a conscious attempt, let's say, to mimic Trump.
No, absolutely not. That is pure Pierre Poilievre. I mean, come on now. The idea of putting your own country first when you're the leader of it is not some unique thought. You know, I don't even like that Fox News host trying to allude to the fact that he's trying to take this from Trump.
I think that I know that Poilievre regards the United States as, well, an ally of paramount value,
As he should.
militarily and economically, that his hope is that Canada and the U.S. can have the best relationship internationally under his leadership.
I mean, just look at that face, guys. Take it in. Beautiful hair. And to be honest, I don't have much more to say about his face, but take it in. Take it in nonetheless.
Leadership that the two countries have ever had, which is obviously the appropriate thing to do, both for the U.S. and for Canada. Canada is the U.S.'s major trading partner, and the reverse is clearly true. Canada has a virtually unlimited supply of energy and resources. There's absolutely no reason that the new mega hope that America can boom can't be boom time for Canada and the U.S. jointly. And that's
What do you guys think? Can Canada and the U.S. both win, or does it have to be one of them? Let me know in the comments.
exactly what should happen.
I want to talk about something else, some other big news that happened this week. Mark Zuckerberg is making it clear that Meta, Facebook, whatever you want to call it, he is deciding to forget about fact checkers, third-party fact checkers, let the Musk formula of community notes
Will you
control
look at
what is
that?
his social media platform. A lot of people are pushing back on me when I said I'm relieved by this. I think it's a great moment. They think we can't trust Mark Zuckerberg after the Zuckerberg incidents.
I would have to agree. I mean, it's a relief that he's finally picking the side of free speech. But this is not a man we can trust. Had Joe Biden or Kamala Harris won the presidency, do you really think he would be joining the fight against censorship? I don't know, but I don't think so. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments.
Your feeling, after all, you had a harder time on Twitter where they banned for a year. You haven't really been banned from Facebook in the past. What does this mean in the big picture?
Well, we have to give Zuckerberg a certain amount of latitude, I would say. It's not an easy thing for the owner of a private company, no matter how big, not to collaborate with the government when they're contacted directly and the demands are made that they do that.
I mean, I can agree with that.
And for the longest period of time, both in the US and Canada, let's say, it was reasonable as a default position to assume a certain degree of reliability and goodwill on the part of government officials. And I think Zuckerberg was pressured tremendously.
Look, he was definitely pressured by the federal government, but I don't think it was just the pressure. I think he saw an opportunity and decided to capitalize on it, not just because he was pressured, but because it would benefit him in the long run. At least he thought so, but now Trump is president, and lo and behold, all of a sudden, he is a free speech advocate fighting censorship. I'm not buying it, guys.
By the Biden administration to put restrictions on free speech on his platform that weren't appropriate. And these are very difficult things to...
You know what? I'm going to double down on that. He has slowly been coming over to the Trump side after he realized that Trump was going to be the new president. And he started warming up to him, praising him in interviews, pretending to be against censorship. The guy is a fraud. He goes to whatever side he thinks is going to win, and he does what they tell him to do. Not for others, but for himself.
operate and understand these large social media platforms. So I think we should cut him some slack. And then I would also say, well, if he's willing to cooperate in the direction of enhanced free speech and willing to extend a hand out to the new Trump administration, why not assume that that offer's made in good faith?
Okay.
And work.
All right, look, the Trump administration can still let Zuckerberg cooperate without assuming he's acting in good faith. They can just be like, okay, now he's doing what we need him to do. We're going to roll with it. Like I said before, had Biden or Kamala Harris won the presidency, do you really think he would be joining the fight against censorship? I'm doubtful, to say the least.
Work with him. I mean, it's not like it's going to be useful for the Trump administration or the MAGA movement as a whole.
All right, here's a little aside, but I mean, he looks kind of funny. You guys remember when Zuckerberg was a little bit more like Bezos, a little bit more nerdy? All these rich guys eventually kind of lose their way. I mean, I'm not judging him. He's wearing a baggy designer t-shirt, his necklace. I mean, it looks cute, but it's just kind of funny.
To generate a lot of excess powerful enemies.
Lastly, Dr. Peterson, there are times in which we've been painting an ugly picture in this country, in your old country, Canada. I feel optimistic about where we're heading in Trump 2. Do you?
I do too. What about you guys? I'm feeling very optimistic. I mean, I would like Trump to kind of back off of trying to add new territory to the United States, like Greenland, the Panama Canal, all this talk about making Canada the 51st state. I'd like him to focus on what he said he was going to do and deliver without trying to expand the territories of the U.S. The way I feel about it is he can really do it. He can really cement his legacy. I just don't think this is the way to go about it. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments if you think Trump will make Canada the 51st state of the U.S. And don't forget to like, comment, and hit that subscribe button. No, I mean it. Hit it!